Hey guys, Jay here with Jay's Backyard Cooking. And today we're gonna get into some pork belly burnt ends using the Traeger 780. Let's get into it. So let's get into what we're gonna be using. Obviously the pork belly, went to H-E-B about a week ago and found a pretty good price on one that was double this size. I cut it in half, put the other part in the freezer, gonna save that for another day. And then this part is what I'm gonna be using for the burnt ends today. It's only me and my wife eating, so this is perfect. We buy a side of potato salad and that's dinner. Okay, so for the seasoning, I'm gonna be using a chupacabra rub. This is their season off they have. Other than that, 2 sticky binders that I'm gonna be using. The first one is Tabasco Jalapeno pepper jelly. It has the right amount of sweetness to the right amount of heat to it. It works perfect for getting everything nice and sticky in combination with the barbecue sauce. I'm not a big fan of barbecue sauce, but when I have to buy it, Sweet Baby Ray's go-to, perfect for making the pork bellies nice and sticky and gives it that great flavor. So let's get into the prep. Let's get all this stuff moved out of the way. Cutting board, a knife, and food grade gloves is what we'll need for this. The other thing too that I like is minimal dishes. Food grade gloves. The thing we're gonna do is take the pork belly out of the packaging. We'll pat it down with some paper towels and then we'll get to cutting. We'll get it out of the packaging. Onto the cutting board. We'll get some paper towels and we're gonna pat it dry. Get all the extra liquid off of it on both sides. Just pat it down really, really good. If you have a little bit of extra fat on here, it's not a big deal. Just trim off a little bit of it. You want some of that fat on there to make the burnt ends a little more juicy. Anything like this is fine. Flip it over, we'll find a straight edge, and then we'll begin our cut right here. Probably 1 to 1.5 inches, square cubes, just to make it bite size or 2 bite is what we're after. So let's begin to cut. So like I said, 1-inch strips like this, we'll cut them like this first, and then we'll come back and cut them this way to where they're 1 to 1.5 inches. We'll get this done, and then we'll be right back. Okay, once they're cut in strips, then we'll turn it all sideways the other way, and then we'll go cross cut. Again, just keeping it at the 1 inch to 1.5 inch. It's perfect bite size. Okay, with the seasoning, as I said, we're just gonna use the chupacabra rub, and we're just gonna get all 4 sides, sprinkle it liberally, and then, like I said, I like to keep dishes as minimal as possible, so aluminum pan for us are a staple in our household, because I try to avoid having to wash too many dishes at the end of it. What better way than to be able to use a throwaway pan? So I'm gonna get all 4 sides of these cubes seasoned, make sure that they're cut all the way through. I'm gonna throw them into the aluminum pan, and then we have to go outside. Now that I got everything seasoned up, I made sure that everything was cut into pieces, not stuck together like they were a while ago. Now I'm just gonna throw these into the pan. Our next step, go outside, get the Traeger ready to go, heat it up. Okay, so here we are back outside. We have the canopy up. It's raining. I'm not sure if you can hear it. It's kind of a drizzle. It's supposed to be like this all day long. So got the Traeger all plugged up, got her cleaned up from the previous use. What I really like about the Traeger though is they sell these liners, aluminum liners, that you can cover your deflection plate with. And the cleanup of those is so easy. Very rarely does anything stick to it. It's just a quick wipe down and you're good to go. So we're gonna get the Traeger turned on. We're gonna get it set to 275. We'll let that bump up the heat, 275, and it's just as simple as that. You push the button, hit ignite, and you are good to go. All right, Traeger's back up, or is up to temperature. We're sitting at around 280. I like to have it around 275, 280. Should take us about 2 hours for the entire cook, maybe a little more depending on what the weather does. But here you can see clean grill. I'm gonna be using tongs to load the pork belly up. So what I like to do is I like to do it fat side up. Honestly, really doesn't matter which way you do it. Just throw it on the grill Get it on there as quick as you can, get the lid closed. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue putting these on. We'll see you back here in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Okay, back inside. The pork belly are rolling in smoke now. Let's get the glaze going. So this here, I'm gonna go ahead and prepare it. I won't need it until probably 30 minutes before the pork belly is done. I'll get it all mixed up. I'll put it in there, let it heat up. By the time the pork bellies are ready to get glazed, this will be nice and warm. I'll be able to get a braising brush and then just braise all of them, or even dip them in there and then put them back into the pit for another 15, 20 minutes. Let's start with this. We'll get I'm gonna go ahead and use the whole jar of the jelly. Probably won't need it, but because this is gonna be just for this weekend, I really don't want to save it for another time. So I'm just gonna dump all of this into a small meatloaf pan, just like that. And then we'll put we're gonna use about 1/8 of it, probably half of what's in here. I'll get it all mixed up, and then we'll put it to the side. Now we're gonna do the pressure temp test with my Inkbird Thermopin. And what pressure temp means is I'm just gonna stab them, and if it feels like it's starting to feel like butter or is butter, then they're perfectly fine. So if you see everything is going in really, really easy. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start taking these out, and then we'll go back in, we'll get the jelly glaze. Back inside, you can tell that it's got some really good red color to it. That means it got really good smoke. And then if jelly, we're just gonna pour over it, just like that. And maybe I'm not gonna use all of it, just have some left. So then we're just gonna get this and we're gonna toss. All we wanna do is get a really good coating of this jelly all over the burn ends, all different sides. And just get it really nice and coated. Spread it all out. It's gonna stay in an aluminum pan once I put it back in. So what I'm gonna do is just a whole stick of butter, whatever you like, organic, salt-free, whatever. This is just whatever was cheapest at HEB. Again, plasticware, guys. I cannot stress enough how much we hate dishes around here. So I do everything in my power to not use a lot of dishes. So what I'm gonna do is just cut these into 1/4-inch slices here, get it all on top, and then we're gonna throw it back into the smoker for another 15, 20 minutes, depending on. So if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications when I upload new videos. And until then, see you next time.